Why does the USA help Ukraine? This is what we're gonna talk about today. Hello everyone, I'm Elena, welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. Please like, subscribe, share, write comments. Let's make truth available for everyone. This is what helps to promote it on YouTube. Thank you. I got an interesting post on Quora. What does the US have to gain from supporting Ukraine? And I decided to answer it not only just in the post, but in the video as well. We need to know the truth how things are, just to stop some Russian propaganda, some conspiracy theories, and so on. Because Russian propaganda, since Putin is losing the war in Ukraine, is increasing. It started to try to influence people in every country to stop supporting Ukraine, trying to discredit Ukraine, and so on. The United States has several interests and potential gains from supporting Ukraine, both in terms of foreign policy and national security. Here are some of the key reasons. Countering Russian aggression. Ukraine is on the front lines of Russian efforts to expand its influence in Eastern Europe. By supporting Ukraine, the US aims to contain Russian aggression and prevent further killings of Ukrainians and destabilization of the region. A stable Ukraine helps maintain stability in Europe, which is in the US interests and the interest of the entire world, including the Russian people. Putin is the only one who wants to completely destroy Ukraine and destabilize the free world. Some other dictators support him. By doing that, they hope to gain influence. Putin learned this tactic from the USSR. USSR did it in the past as well. Promoting democracy and human rights. The United States has a long-standing commitment to promoting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law around the world. Supporting Ukraine, especially in its efforts to resist Russian aggression, aligns with these values. Ukraine's struggle for independence and democracy resonates with American ideas, making it a natural partner. Strengthening European and global security. A stable and secure Ukraine contributes to the overall security of Europe and the world. The US supports Ukraine as part of its broader commitment to the security and stability of the European continent, as a peaceful Europe is conducive to American interests. Putin will not stop, even if a miracle happens, and he seizes all of Ukraine. He has made it clear that he will invade other countries. He must be stopped. This is why the US and other democratic countries support Ukraine. If Ukraine falls, Europe is next Russian target. Putin did not stop after he bombed Chechnya into submission. He didn't stop after Russia grabbed parts of Georgia and Ukraine, Crimea, and 2 republics in Donbass. Putin will continue to build a new Russian empire. Putin's defeat will send a clear message to any other dictator that it is not okay to take other countries' territory. This will prevent potential aggression from the countries like China towards their neighbors. Economic interests. Ukraine is a country with a large population and significant economic potential. So far, economic ties between the US and Ukraine have not been extensive. In the future, after the war is over, economic opportunities for American businesses may emerge in Ukraine, but at this point, it's not the most critical aspect. It is necessary to remember, the USA did not start the war in Ukraine. Russia did. The USA is helping Ukraine to stop the war by winning it, because Putin doesn't want to stop, and negotiations with him are impossible at this point in time, or ever. However, the US economy can benefit from helping Ukraine. First of all, the USA used to maintain military capabilities sufficient to defend the country from the attacks of at least 2 major opponents simultaneously. For example, Russia and China. If they together attack United States is supposed to have, and they do, have the capability to defend themselves. During the war in Ukraine, Russia lost most of its army, a lot of military equipment, ships, a submarine, and the Soviet stockpile of ammunition is being destroyed. Russia is no longer a threat to the US for decades to come, so the USA can save money on its defense in the future. For example, according to the USA Army budget, it will pay about $168,000 for each JMLRS in 2023. One JMLRS can destroy 1 Russian tank, for example. The T-90M tank cost about $5 million. So for the price of peanuts on a dollar, the USA is boosting its security. If in the worst case scenario, all the money the US spends on helping Ukraine comes only from the pockets of American taxpayers, this isn't true, by the way. The Russian threat to the USA will be eliminated for the price of like a cup of coffee a day or something like that for each and every one of the American taxpayers. But it is not true. The money is not coming from their pockets. Not majority of the money anyway. The next point. The help that USA gives to Ukraine is not just money, and maybe not even money most of the time. The USA is providing Ukraine with its old equipment and ammunition, which needed to be replaced, destroyed, or recycled anyway. And that's what American taxpayers would pay for. To destroy it, to basically take it apart, and so on. And it's very expensive to do. But now it is given to Ukraine for the price decided by the US Army. For example, according to US Army budget, it will pay about $168,000 for each GMLRS in 2023, but the cost of an M31 missile is estimated at $500,000, though it's maybe the export price, which is always higher than the amount charged to the US Army. So basically the Army decides how much they're gonna value the piece of equipment they're giving to Ukraine. They could say this computer mouse worth $500, $5,000, $50,000, whatever they want. The production of new weapons creates jobs, and taxes are paid by companies and individuals. This boosts the US economy. So when United States replaces the old weapons, they have to create a new one. And somebody have to produce it, somebody will get paid for it, pay taxes, and so on. This is what I'm talking about. Next point. Russian defeat will discourage other countries from fighting aggressive wars. So America will spend less money on its military. Despite some economic benefits to the USA, it is not in their interest to prolong the war in Ukraine. This is what I want to underline. Before the war, the USA lived well, made money, and was the #1 economy in the world, without exposing itself to World War III and potential nuclear war. So there is no need to use my information to boost Russian propaganda. I don't want somebody to use my information as a boosting their conspiracy theories. No, it's not in the interest of the United States to have that war. Even because Russia started it and continuing it, in some ways United States benefit from it, but they do not want to delay. They don't want to prolong this war. They live perfectly fine without this war and way better. They did not need to be threatened by the nuclear threat. They want to be safe, and absolutely not in the United States or anybody's interest beside Putin to continue the war in Ukraine. But the United States understands that Ukraine has to win this war. They don't have any other choice. Unfortunately, Putin didn't left them another choice. That is why United States supporting Ukraine. Maintaining international norms. By assisting Ukraine in its resistance against Russian aggression, the US helps uphold international norms and principles, such as respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. This sends a message to other nations that might consider similar aggressive actions that such behavior is not acceptable. This will not be tolerated. The rule of law inside countries and on the international arena is essential for the survival and prosperity of all humans on our planet. Putin, with his aggressive ambition, is trying to throw the world's centuries into the past, when the might was right, when people and countries still play the zero-sum game. The whole civilization is standing on the rule of law. Putin wants to destroy our civilization. It's like when you pull out the basement out of the building, building will collapse. This is what Putin is trying to do. Strategic partnership. The United States is developing a strategic partnership with Ukraine over the years. This partnership includes military cooperation, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic coordination, all of which are supposed to provide stability in the region. Energy security. By supporting Ukraine, the US can help diversify Europe's energy sources and reduce its dependence on Russian energy, which can enhance energy security in the region. Food security. By supporting Ukraine, the producer of grain, the US helps provide food to developing countries and save people in Africa, Syria, and other places from starvation. Some of Putin's goals are to control food supplies by either getting Ukrainian fertile lands or destroying them, and control the world by threatening to starve hundreds of millions of people. By controlling oil and gas as well, he hopes to achieve world domination. The USA and other democratic countries are helping Ukraine to stop Putin and his imperial ambitions. Humanitarian problems and genocide. The conflict in Ukraine has led to humanitarian crisis with millions of displaced people and civilian casualties. Russia is committing war crimes and genocide in Ukraine. The US supports Ukraine in part to address these humanitarian concerns and provide assistance to those in need. And I can add that Russia is trying to create a big crisis in Europe. They try to flood it with refugees in the past from Syria, now from Ukraine. Now Russia basically bringing people from Africa and some other countries and throwing them at the border with Finland, giving them bicycles, basically. I have the video of it showing like Russian army, Russian border guards, giving them the whole minivan load of bicycles and sending them to the borders of Finland, because Russia trying to flood the Europe with immigrants, creating crisis there and using everything in their power to destroy the peaceful life in Europe and in every country Russia can reach by doing that. Preventing the refugee crisis. By helping Ukraine win the war, the USA is trying to ensure the stability of Ukraine so that millions of Ukrainians can safely return home and not put pressure on the economics of the countries that provided them shelter during the war. By stopping Putin from bombing Ukraine and starving people all over the world, Ukraine and the countries who are helping Ukraine prevent a wave of refugees flooding the USA and many other successful countries. So far they're flooding Europe. And that's what the United States is trying to stop. Geopolitical influence. A stable Ukraine with close ties to the United States strengthens America's influence in Eastern Europe. This can help counterbalance Russian influence in the region and provide opportunities for the US to engage with other Eastern European countries. So far, Russian influence has brought to the countries only destruction, corruption, and death. All the democratic countries that are friends with the United States are prosperous and successful. It is very easy to prove what I just said. Name me at least one country who is in Russian influence and who is prosperous, successful, and has a great economy. Russia itself is not that kind of country. Russia itself is third world nation with a poor economy which is collapsing and so on. I can give you a whole bunch of examples, like for example Venezuela, who used to be a rich country, who has lots of oil, who has lots of natural resources. And what is happening? The corrupt regime there buddies with Russia, and now they're using basically a suitcase luggage as a wallet. They measuring money in kgs. This is how to destroy a country which can be successful. Allow Russian influence there. Make Russia their buddy. So this is what happened to Venezuela, for example. In summary, the United States is supporting Ukraine for a combination of moral, strategic, military, economic, and geopolitical reasons. By doing so, the US aims to advance its interests in promoting democracy, countering Russian aggression, maintaining stability in Europe, and fostering economic and security partnerships in the region. But we need to remember, it is Ukrainians who are the real heroes. They are defending the world from Putin's aggression, and we, the democratic countries and the USA, are helping them. But it is Ukrainian soldiers and civilians who are dying every day, defending not only their right to live and be free, but our freedom, our laws, our civilization. The USA or NATO didn't start this war. They don't continue this war. Putin started the war, and he doesn't want to stop it. That is why the USA and the entire civilized world are helping Ukraine. Please help Ukraine and share this with your politicians, your friends, and educate people. Enough of Putin's propaganda. Thank you for watching. Until next time, learn the truth and stay informed.